What's up guys, my name is Nick and welcome back to the last video in this cut content of Call of Duty series. If you don't know what the cut content of Call of Duty series was, basically, it was just a series where I showed you guys cut content from your favorite Call of Duty games. So basically I'm going to talk about cut weapons, cut multiplayer maps, cut perks, cut anything that I can find in the documents of the game, but just know I might not get all of them, but I will get most of them. I've done literally every Call of Duty now, and World at War is the last Call of Duty that I have not done, and since World War II is right around the corner, why not do a World at War cut content video? But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So every time I do a video like this, I talk about the history of me in this Call of Duty, and then I go straight to the cut content, because I've been playing Call of Duty since COD 4, so almost about 10 years. Alright, so the history of me in World at War, I don't remember much. The only thing I remember much is being scared of playing zombies, because I was a little kid at the time World at War came out. I was like 9 at the time World at War came out, and I was really afraid of the zombies, because zombies was something totally different, and nobody has ever seen anything like that before, and to me, that was very scary, because at that time, I think Dead Space was out, and I didn't like playing horror games at all. Also, remember how everybody would give World at War like a lot of crap, because they said it was a wannabe COD 4 or something like that. Like, basically, they were trying to match COD 4, but they couldn't. COD 4 was still the superior, and then years later, when people come back, they're like, alright, World at War was actually one of the greatest Call of Duties ever. But at that time when World at War came out, everybody would like bash World at War because it couldn't be as quote-unquote as good as COD 4. So that's basically all I remember, and then it went blur until 2012 when my girlfriend at that time gave me World at War, like a copy of it, because she didn't like it, and I got to actually experience it, and it was really fun. I was like, why was I so scared of this game, and why did people like bash this game? It was actually really fun. And at that time, during 2012, the population for World at War was probably like 2,000 players, 3,000 players. Just note that was on Xbox, but now the population for Xbox at least is probably like 1,000 now, 500, somewhere around there. It's not a lot. It's down a lot. And when World War II comes out, that game's definitely gonna die. But that's pretty much it for the history of me and World at War. Now let's get into the cut content. So the first thing I'm gonna tell you guys is the guns. So the first gun is the Dirty Harry. It was basically the M19 pistol that just shot grenades. It was normally used when you got down with the Suicide King Def card enabled, but it was just used as a normal weapon, and probably scrapped because it's freaking OP to shoot grenades out of your freaking M1911. And then next gun is the Brains gun for the zombies. Yes, you can actually acquire the zombies weapon. The zombies have a weapon, it's just called Brains, and they just melee with you it. And then the next gun is the default weapon that looks like a cowbell, and this was used for a placeholder for, you know, writing scripts for the weapons or just modeling them after this gun. Now here's an unused pack-a-punch weapon, the Eviscerator. It's an unused pack-a-punch upgrade for the Orisica. It can only be obtained by the way of console commands, but appears to have been canned at an early stage. There are no engravings on the metal like the other guns, and the only change was the stainless steel on the metal. Also, the next gun is the Mosin Nagant. That is only in the main game, but not in zombies mode, if you ever notice it. And it can only be attained in the maps Darius and Verrucht with console commands, and also has a pack-punch version that can be seen in the game files. However, the only change is the metal on the weapons. Another completely scrapped pack-a-punch gun was the Snuff Box. It was a pack-a-punch upgrade for the sawed-off double-barrel shotgun. However, this one is actually a complete pack-a-punch weapon and can be seen by the way of modding. It was probably scrapped because that is probably a weird name, or it was probably overpowered, who knows. Also, fun fact, the katana used by the Japanese in the campaign was actually able to be picked up. It has Karate class icons, so that's pretty neat. But you really can't pick it up now via commands or anything really, but it was pretty neat. They thought about putting the katana in World at War. The next gun is the Grease gun. It was completely scrapped in late development, but it's finished and can only be obtained by modding, but it looks exactly like the COD 2 one. Now here are some guns that are not complete but are left over in the game files. So the first one is the Lee Enfield. It is a British bolt action rifle used by the British and Canadian forces and was cut alongside the British campaign. Only created class image remains, and a pickup icon and animation and weapon files exist. The next gun is the Sten. The British SMG of choice was cut along with the British campaign. Only created class images, a pickup icon, animations, and weapon files exist. If you don't know why I'm saying British campaign, because there was supposed to be a British campaign. If you played World at War, you can only play as the Americans and the Russians. I'll get to later of what other factions you were able to play as. But you know now that you were able to play as the British, but they cut it out. The next gun is the PPS-43, an SMG used during World War II by the Soviets. It was cut very early on, and only created class images and animations exist. And this gun probably would have been an awesome competitor to the PPSH, because this gun looks awesome. That's pretty much it for guns, really. Next up is the cut perks, perk-a-colas, and attachments. The first one is the Magic Wrench, and it is a vehicle perk, and it was only used in Tank War, but the functionality most likely repairs tanks, because it's in the name, Magic Wrench, and it has a wrench picture. The next perk is Commanding Squad Leader. It allowed the player to give orders to their squad. In the final version, all squad leaders can do this now, so there's no... They completely just scrapped the perk and just made it where everybody can do it. There's also a cut perk in the Zombies mode. It's called Ammo-matic, and only textures and sound files remain for it, and this is what the texture looks like. I'm pretty sure Ammo-matic would have been like an extended mags perk, really, because that's what it sounds like it would have been. Now, an attachment that was cut is a Compensator and Select Fire. Compensator is a cut attachment that in real life basically reduces the recoil of your weapon it is attached to, but it's like a grip in the final game, really. So I'm pretty sure they just scrapped it, because why not? That thing looks pretty weird, and I don't think it would really benefit in the game, because it does reduce recoil, but the recoil in World at War is actually not that bad. So yeah. And then the next one is Select Fire. It's another cut attachment. The Select Fire most likely worked the same way it did in the first Call of Duty and in United Offensive. Yes, Select Fire was in that. It would have been for the SVT-40, and it was mentioned in the World at War strategy guide, and it has a select icon as a silencer with "This is a Select Fire switch." So that would have been cool. Select Fire on the SVT-40, making it automatic. That one, or 3 bursts really. That would have been pretty interesting. So that's pretty much it for perks, perk-a-colas, and attachments. Now it's off to the game modes and the vehicles that were towards that game mode, or vehicles in general of the campaign. So the first cut game mode, and the only cut game mode really in World at War, is Tank War, which is basically the tanks in the maps if you've ever played World at War, and they just have a war. The first unused vehicle, Crusader, is only referenced in the files, and there's no real image for it, really. Next one is a default vehicle. It's a 6-wheeled, untextured, and crudely made vehicle with 2 MG42s and 2 Panzerschrecks that seem to be made to test vehicle drive. So that is a placeholder. The next one is the Goliath. It is a remote-controlled German demolition vehicle. The next one is the M4 Sherman. The M4 Sherman tank has 3 unused models. The first one has an M2 Browning machine on it. The second one is equipped with deep wading gear, and the third one has a winter camouflage that was definitely for the Holland level, which is a cut map that I will talk about later. The next one is the MA Greyhound, an armored car intended for the Marines. Despite having a machine gun and turret, neither one of them was a weapon file. The file name of the modeling is pretty weird, and it shows that it would have been used in Tank War. The next vehicle is the Nashorn, a German tank destroyer. Coding shows that it would have appeared in the cut Rhineland 2 map, while Tiger Tank was used as a placeholder for it. The next one is the SDKFZ 222 or 222 or 222. It's a German armored car, and 4 models remain for it. Its default model, a variant model, one with camouflage. That's odd since the German military never appear in heavily wooded areas, and a winterized version intended for the cut map Holland. Next vehicle is the Panther, and it has a winter version of it which was intended for the map Holland. The next vehicle is the Type 1 Hokai. Is an APC for the Japanese, but it does not seem to have any weapons on it as per the vehicle in real life. The next vehicle is the Type 97, a version with an MG42 was planned for multiplayer with this vehicle. So that would have been pretty cool. And then the last vehicle is the Wasp, and it seems like it would have been a vehicle with a flamethrower on it. So that would have been pretty interesting. That's it for the vehicles. Now let's talk about the cut campaign and multiplayer maps. The first campaign mission is a training mission, similar to the COD 4 one. It's pretty funny because only scripts and 4 HD screenshots remain for it, and I will show them. I will show all the screenshots of everything I'm talking about, guys. But yeah. The next mission is Fly. It's a mission where you fly a Corsair or Hellcat over Bloody Nose Ridge on Pelia Island. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It was probably inspired by Payback in Call of Duty Black Ops. So that's pretty cool. So Just think of the mission Payback in Call of Duty Black Ops. That's what Fly would have been, but they cut it out. Now here is the cancelled British campaign. The 2 campaign missions are Holland and Rhineland. Holland has 3 levels from the cancelled British campaign, and only level scripts and HD screenshots and some textures remain for it, as well as Rhineland would have had 3 levels from the cancelled British campaign, but only level scripts and some textures remain for it, not screenshots. Now we are done with the campaign maps. It's off to the multiplayer map. So the first multiplayer map is Atoll. It's Marine Raiders versus Imperial Army map type thing. It's a small medium Pacific island, great for free-for-all, team deathmatch, and more. The next map is Beachhead. It is Marine Raiders versus Imperial type faction map, and it's basically you fly through the bloodied sand, but it's good for large vehicle matches. So probably would have been intended for, you know, tank war or something. Next map is Carrier. It's a Marine Raiders versus Imperial Army map, and it's an aircraft carrier covered with Corsairs, or aka planes. The next map is Cavern. It's a Marine Raiders versus Imperial map, and it's an unknown Japanese cavern. The next map is Docks. It's a Marine Raiders versus Imperial Army map, and only text screens, load screen, and mini maps of it remain, and it was replaced with the map Subpens. The next map is Dog Test. It is a test map made for testing dog pathfinding, so it's not really a multiplayer map. It's just in the files. And then the next map is Subway. It's a Marine Raiders versus Imperial Army map, which is pretty funny because that map is actually in the campaign. So I don't know why they would do Marine Raiders versus Imperial Army, because it was Russians versus Germans in the campaign in that map. Also, Subway was replaced with the map Station. Oh, and also Docks was in the campaign as well, but that one is Marines and Japanese, so that fits. The next map is Wetlands. It's a Russian versus Germans map, and only load screens and mini maps remain for it. It was replaced with the map Silo. The next map is Broadside. It's a Russian versus Germans map, and only scripts remain for it. The next map is Casino, and it's a Russians versus Germans map, and it's probably a remake of the multiplayer map Casino from Call of Duty United Offensive. The next map is Lagoon. It's a Marine Raiders versus Imperial Army. If you don't know what I'm meaning when I say that, it's basically Americans versus Japanese, and only map script files still exist for it. The next map is Struggle. It's a Russian versus German map, and script files remain for it only. Next map is Trenches. It's a Russian versus German map, and only script files remain for it. And then the last map is Nightfire. According to the community manager Josh Olin, the map Nightfire was intended to be in the retail game, but was left unfinished due to time constraints. Among those remains is an early minimap only. And that's basically pretty much it for cut content revolving World at War. And then you guys all know the region difference with Germany, Americans, and all that copies of World at War when it came out. But that was basically pretty much it, guys. And if you guys did like this, drop a like, because it helps me out a ton. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe for more amazing content, because I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And also hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you get notified when my uploads happen. Also, if you know any cut content from World at War that I missed, please comment down below what that is, because again, I did say I'm not going to get all of them. I'm only going to get most of them. Also, I will pop a card to the cut content of Call of Duty series right about now if you want to check out any Call of Duty that is your favorite of what cut content was cut from that Call of Duty game. But again, that was basically pretty much it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So peace, guys.